Wow, what's good, YouTube? It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boxing community. Before we go any further in the video, like the video, share the video, comment, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you'll be alerted when I post any new videos. All right, recently I saw just a brief clip of this IFL TV interview with Eddie Hearn. And due to the situation in the Ukraine, being invaded by Russia, the Russia-Ukraine situation, Alexander Usyk, the unified heavyweight champion, he won't be able to fight his rematch with Anthony Joshua. All right, and as a result, Anthony Joshua has a short list of fighters that he wants to fight. On this particular short list, Deontay Wilder, my favorite fighter. In addition to Deontay Wilder, Luis King Kong Ortiz, he has Otto Wallin, and he has Joe Joyce. So those fighters are on the short list of fighters that he wants to fight. I think any of those four fights will be good fights. However, the fight I really would like to see is Anthony Joshua fight Deontay Wilder. I don't think we'll ever see this fight as boxing fans. And I think this is just one of the huge problems in the sport of boxing. The best fighters do not want to fight the best fighters, and it's ridiculous we can't get the fights that we want to see. I hate to rehash the whole Wilder-Joshua saga and situation, but let's take a stroll down memory lane for 1 second. At one point, Deontay Wilder was the WBC heavyweight champion, and Anthony Joshua was the unified heavyweight champion. All right, he had all the rest of the belts. They could have fought each other for undisputed, and we would have had an undisputed heavyweight champion. However, Barry Hearn and Eddie Hearn did not want that particular fight. Of course, Anthony Joshua, he was saying ridiculous things that, hey, he want this, he want that. At one point, he said he want $50 million up front. Deontay Wilder provided him with that, and he moved the finish line, and he moved the end zone and goal post in that particular situation. They negotiated, and basically Eddie Hearn offered Deontay Wilder a flat fee of $12 million. Of course, Deontay Wilder accepted, and he wouldn't give Deontay Wilder a rematch clause. And then eventually they moved the offer up from $12 million to $15 million. But basically, he offered Deontay Wilder a deal that he would not accept, that he knew he would refuse, because basically they didn't want Anthony Joshua to fight Deontay Wilder, and that's really kind of what it amounted to. Of course, a lot of Anthony Joshua fans at the time, they said that Wilder was ducking the fight. Wilder didn't want to fight him, but if you could look at the situation objectively and honestly, you could see that Barry Hearn and Eddie Hearn did not want Anthony Joshua to fight Deontay Wilder. Now, in terms of the other fighters, Luis Ortiz, he didn't look that good. He didn't look as sharp and as crisp in his last fight against Charles Martin. I had Martin winning that particular fight until Ortiz got the knockout. So even with that being said, I think in a fight with Anthony Joshua, I would favor Luis King Kong Ortiz. I think he would win that particular fight. Also, Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is a good, solid fighter, but I would favor Anthony Joshua against Joe Joyce. I think Joshua would be able to pull out that particular fight. And in terms of Otto Wallin had a real good performance against Tyson Fury. And in addition to that, he had a good performance against Dominic Breazeale. Dillian White did not want to fight Otto Wallin, so based on his two performances, I would favor Otto Wallin against Anthony Joshua, especially the way Joshua looked against Alexander Usyk. Even though Alexander Usyk was the undisputed cruiserweight champion, I mean, he still was moving up from cruiserweight to heavyweight. He didn't look too good in his first fight at heavyweight. However, he fought against Anthony Joshua, and he just won that fight convincingly. I don't think it was a dominant performance, but I think he won convincingly. So based on what they did in their respective fights, I would favor Al-Walin against Anthony Joshua also. So basically what it boils down to and what it amounts to is that Eddie Hearn wants Anthony Joshua to take a stay busy fight, a light touch, an easy fight, while everything in the Ukraine clears up. But the thing he really fails to realize, none of us know how long this situation is going to take. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. For all we know, Alexander Usyk may never fight again. Of course, I don't want that to happen, but, worst case scenario, he dies and he never fights again, then what? So in that particular instance, I mean, at some point he's going to have to fight tougher competition. He just can't stall and just keep fighting easy fights. He's going to have to fight some real competition. And that's the problem with the heavyweight division, because not just the heavyweight division, but just boxing in general. We want to see the best fighters fight the best fighters, and we can't get that in this day and age. And even with that being said, in terms of Joshua, if he doesn't fight one of those fights, fight one of those fighters, more than likely Eddie Hearn will probably put him in a fight with a light touch, easy fight. But let's go to the wilder side of the equation. Of course, he lost his last fight to Tyson Fury. He fought Tyson 3 times. He fought Tyson Fury 3 times. He lost the last 2. He's my favorite fighter. And to be truthful and to be honest, there's no real excitement in the heavyweight division without Deontay Wilder. There's been speculation that he may retire. He's considering retirement. He's in a good space mentally. Me personally, whatever decision he decides, whatever he decides to do, I would be in support of it. However, as a fan of his, I would love to see him come back and continue fighting. And hopefully one day he gets to fight with Joshua, and maybe at some point he would become undisputed champion. I mean, that's my hope. But like I said, whatever he decides, I'll be in favor of it and will be in agreement with whatever he decides. But hopefully he decides to continue fighting. Now let's go to Eddie Hearn, and he's a huge issue in the sport of boxing, in my estimation. Instead of him pushing for Anthony Joshua to fight Deontay Wilder, basically he wants him to take a tune-up type fight, stay busy fight, easy fight, just to kind of kill time and stall to see what's going to happen with Alexander Usyk in the Ukraine. And instead of him putting his emphasis and focus on Devin Haney and getting a George Kambosos fight so we could have an undisputed fight at 135, it seems as if his focus is on Anthony Joshua. And not only that, but Anthony Joshua, again, avoiding Deontay Wilder. And like I said, that's the huge problem with the sport of boxing. Instead of us getting a very good to great heavyweight fight, Eddie Hearn is steering Anthony Joshua away from a difficult fight. And instead of him putting all his emphasis on Devin Haney and getting that fight done so we can have an undisputed fight at 135, so we get Devin Haney and George Kambosos for undisputed, he's not really putting as much emphasis on that particular fight. So that's ridiculous. And without Wilder, there's no real excitement in the heavyweight division. And just in the sport of boxing, it's just kind of disheartening. Like I said, we can't get Devin Haney and George Kambosos at 135. We can't get any real, fights of substance at the heavyweight division. And we know Tyson Fury beat Wilder, and he's going to fight Dillian White. I mean, to be truthful, I have no interest in that particular fight. I mean, I think it's going to be a good fight, but really not interested in it. And without Deontay Wilder, for me, there's no real interest in the heavyweight division. So hopefully we could get some of these other fights that we want. We could get, hopefully, which I highly doubt, we could get George Kambosos and Devin Haney. We could get, if Errol Spence Jr. is successful against, in his particular fight, his unification fight, hopefully we could get Spence and Crawford, but Udonis Ugas is no easy test. I mean, it's no easy fight. I expect Udonis Ugas to bring his A game. That should be a pretty good fight. But I want to see Spence and Crawford. I want to see Devin Haney, George Kambosos, and it'll be a good fight to see Wilder and Joshua. But to be truthful, with the state of boxing being what it is difficult for me to imagine us getting any of those fights. I wouldn't be surprised if Spence beat Ugas and PBC try to push for Spence to fight Keith Thurman. I mean, so that's the way it is in the sport of boxing. The heavyweight division isn't exciting without Deontay Wilder, and just the sport of boxing in general. They're just not giving us the fights we want. So hopefully we can get some of these fights at the end of 2022. Beginning of 2023, but I'm skeptical and I doubt it. So that's it for this particular video. Like I said, like the video, share the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell for whenever I drop any new video. Again, it's Coach 67 Sports TV. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Have a blessed, phenomenal day. Peace.